Osa Thompson Mensah, who was he was the executive director of First Capital Plus Savings and Loans, which became Capital Bank. He believed in me. He gave me the leeway. They gave me room to make mistakes. And I cannot be where I am today, especially in the fintech space. If I'd gone into the health sector, I probably would be in providing health tech. If I'd gone into another industry, I probably would have been. But we all know that the financial services actually employs a lot of people, and it actually employs a lot of people in technology. So I'm grateful for Osa Thompson Mensah. And also, I'm also grateful to Reverend Fitzgerald Odonko, who became an MD in Capital Bank. Again, he even gave me further room to experiment. He was always ready to listen on ideas that I had, whether the ideas were going to be correct or wrong. They gave me the confidence, really, and I cannot say thank you enough to them. And for those who've helped me, because this journey, this month, I believe, is Mental Health Awareness Month for men. And there's a lot of stress that by speaking to other CEOs, you come to the understanding that whatever you were going through when you're trying to build your company is not unique. There's nothing new under the sun. Trying to build a company is one of the hardest things that can ever be done. And we need to encourage more people to do it. So I also want to thank Mr. Kofi Enyinem Watson. If he hears this, I want to say I'm very grateful. He's one of my advisors. I actually went last week for more advice. I mean, when you start a company, you are going to be in a lonely place. So it's very important to have advisors. And then for those who've gone before us, I also want to thank again another of my advisor, who is Mr. Enin. And this looks like a rap album where I'm giving all the shout outs to all. But it's very important to give back, as I've said. And to the CEOs who began the fintech journey, Alex Bramov, Haptel now, I've worked with them, Curtis of ExpressPay, Deridin of Dream Mobile, all of these ones, Kofi Owusu Inshira. I've known a lot of these guys for many years, many years. They inspired me, and once I began this journey, they continue to I occasionally speak to them. Big Godwin of WebSoft Solutions, and many other business interests. So the CEOs and all these vendors who used to come in when I was in the bank, and so the relationship began as we are working on having their software or their platforms in our bank. And then once I left, anytime I pick up the phone, they answer. And I'm very grateful to them for all the other tech CEOs. So that's it. That's been a long shout out. My parents, my wife, Ethel Kofi. I need to actually stop because even if you give me the chance, I'm going to shout out to a lot of people. But we need to help each other. I guess what I'm trying to say is that we need to understand that it's important that we help ourselves, help each other, because without that, we don't grow together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Papa Kwame. Viewers, once again, you're welcome to Fintech Africa podcast by Financial Inclusion Africa and Fintech Magazine Africa. Today we have Papa Kwame Anane, who is the CEO and founder of Great Parrot IO, and he's sharing some perspectives with us in terms of what his company stands for and the fact that they are driving digital transformation and innovation in the markets that they have been able to work in so far. Papa, back to one of the personal questions that will come to you in terms of the advice that you give to aspiring professionals looking to pursue a career in fintech or leadership roles. within the industry. What do you think that should be? Uh, Clearly, the fintech industry in Ghana has evolved over the years. I remember the days when the industry started with a product like an EMI service where there was a use of you had basically had to put together a set of syntaxes on SMS, and then through that you can be able to terminate your transaction via short code. And Clet was very, very, very new, and clearly that market that we have today, or perhaps what we have today, had not been created. And so it meant that fintechs and all players had to do kind of redo or perhaps even re-strategize by trying to educate customers more than trying to promote products. And that actually helped to change the narrative of how products were adopted. And today we can say that we are moving to the maturity stage of the industry. And clearly, we can be able to make a lot of gains across the verticals in terms of health tech, in terms of land tech, in terms of wealth tech, in terms of femtech, tech, across all the verticals. So what advice will you give to aspiring professionals? Clearly, I can say that the market is so rife, and there are many opportunities that can be pursued across the verticals than we used to have in the past.
Yes, yes. So, what I would like to tell professionals is don't be afraid. Um, there are many people who have great ideas. There are many people who are currently working in institutions and they have ideas and designs of trying to set out on their own. I want to encourage you to do it. Is it going to be easy? Absolutely not. It's not going to be easy. But everything we enjoy currently is the result of some people putting in the hard work. So if I also want to speak especially to the young techpreneurs, for those who want to be technology entrepreneurs like I wanted to be, you need to really understand the industry. You really, really need to understand an industry and understand that things take time. So be ready to embed yourself. There are some CEOs of some startups that I would advise that if you can go on a sabbatical where you spend a year working for the client that you want to provide to in future, it's actually going to be way more beneficial. Because if I came out of the bank, the solutions I come out with, no matter how intelligent or how smart you think your systems are, unless you have people who came out from the bank to truly understand the banking problems, first of all, it's going to be difficult for you to solve the problem. Because when I make a sale, I tell them, I know you are facing X, Y, Z because I faced it. It's easier. And having been in that industry, you would realize that you would have had the opportunity to experiment with various ways of solving the problem. So if you find yourself trying in insurtech, for example, and you think you have great ideas about insurance, my advice is if you cannot be as a founder, if you cannot be deeply embedded for a while, for a long time to truly understand how the business works, it's it would be good to get a co-founder who actually comes out from such an industry. Because right now, I can give advice to banks on issues on supply chain financing, on issues on receivables collections, on issues of channels, on issues of you just name it, automation, operational efficiency. Because I've been in there, I've been embedded, I've seen the issues that came up at Malcolm, and I would also advise that when you are in there, just speak to the customer care or the customer experience unit. You are going to hear what the customers want. You are going to see what the pain points are. And once you do that, believe me, you are going to have a solution that already has a product market fit. So um, I would want to encourage people to step out. If you are watching this, if you're my friend, you've known me, it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it because we need to think of our generations unborn. We need to think of our children's children. We need to make sacrifices that don't necessarily benefit us to the fullest, but we know that we are leaving something behind. So that has to be with it. So all the industries, it doesn't matter whether you're in health tech, and especially if you're a technical person, find an industry. There are a lot of solutions required by the health industry, lots of solutions in agric, lots of solutions in legal, you name it. Any industry that has existed for a long time can benefit from operational efficiency improvement, can benefit on innovation and strategic thrust that will help them make more money or save the losses that they are making. So that would be my advice. It's a lot of words, but if you can pick out the nuggets of what I'm saying, the parts that speak to you, just run with it. You'll be fine.
Right. Thank you so much. Talking about pain points, just to move on, is it possible to also share the ways in which Great Parrot IO, an organization, aims to address the unique financial needs and challenges faced by your target market in the African market? How are you able to address the unique financial needs and challenges? You've shared some of these instances and use cases previously while we've had this discussion. But just to clearly zero in on the kind of unique selling propositions that you have in terms of the ways that you aim to address the unique needs of customer requirements. How are you able to do that, and how do you aim to address the concerns in terms of requirements of customers? Because I mean, clearly, customer pain point is something that needs to be managed properly and needs to be uh, if you like, analyze properly to arrive at offering the right solutions and products.
Yeah. Um, this is this is a very good question. So as I mentioned, let's start by the whole premise. I mean, of our discussions. We talk about financial inclusion, and our understanding of financial inclusion is hopefully everybody in the world who is capable of being part of the financial system has the opportunity to do so. But there are challenges. First of all, we need to think about access. And so, the way we empower our banking clients with the issue of access is to help them on their channel strategy. And Africa is unique. So, for example, you need to think about how Africans are going to be interacting with financial services, the channels that they are going to use. And as a bank, first and foremost, do you have the relevant platforms or frameworks and infrastructure that would help you make sure that your channels are operating at the full capacity? So I'll give you an example. Most banks are not, for example, omni-channel in nature. They are multi-channel. So case in point, you're going to have the USSD being operated by a different system. People will have to enter their passwords many times across the ATMs or their internet banking or some other system that they are using. It's difficult to share information. It's even possible that customers may have their names saved differently on different systems on a channel that they perceive to come from the same bank. So with situations like this, is what we do is we actually provide solutions or we work with some international partners to help banks come up with systems like API gateways. For example, we currently have an API gateway project ongoing in Zambia where we'll be able to harmonize all APIs that exist within the bank. Because when you talk about digital innovation or financial inclusion, it begins from APIs. And it's very essential that everybody in the organization understands that APIs are valuable, APIs are a product. It's also essential that everybody in the organization understands that there is a lot of value that exists that is sitting within the bank itself. That gives more opportunities for money to be made, more opportunities for more customers to be acquired. So you might think, for example, that all the data that you have sitting in your data reservoir is just for storage. But I will tell you that no, there's a lot of insights you can glean from the data that you've saved over the years that can help you come up with customized packages based on the behavior of some of your customers. So you're able to come up with products that will make sense so that you don't just go and pick a product from another bank or from Europe because you've heard that this is how it worked. Africa is unique. You need to invest in channels such as USSD. So we Great Proud, for example, for over 4 years, we've been perfecting a USSD solution for banks and for other organizations that allows them to easily integrate into their systems. And this is basically a no-code solution. It's a no-code USSD app solution. You will realize that because USSD is a problem unique to Africa, the Western companies are not going to solve it for us. Most people also think that the people who use USSD in terms of the lifetime value that you are going to get from such customers might not be more. So it will make sense to focus on government business or corporate business or SME business. But what I advise my innovation heads in the banks that we are providing services to is to leave no stone unturned. So you need to start from even the lowest. Of course, that's why you have a retail banking unit or a personal banking unit, whichever names that are being used. And then you also need to think about SMEs. Sometimes we also think that financial inclusion means that once a person has got the bank account, then he's financially included, or the mobile account. And reports now say that we have about 75% of adults in the world who at least have a bank account or a mobile money wallet. But is that it? Is that financial inclusion? I don't think so. I strongly believe that financial inclusion should mean that there is resources to be able to give things like credit. There's resources to be able to give things like wealth, investments, and a lot of the things that exist that we think we can only give to customers that we think are less risky. So we have solutions. I mean, as Great Power, we have solutions for all of that. We have solutions that help retail banking. We also have solutions in digital lending, for example, that can help banks finance the supply chain of their customers. Because think about it: you're a bank, you have an SME or you have a big company, a big blue chip company that is providing products to a distributor or a wholesaler. The bank should get in there to help in the financing need. Now, the banks have challenges because we really need to understand if you, for example, you live in an environment where there's a lack of a centralized collateral registry, for example, if your systems are not interoperable, then it's going to be difficult to roll out some of these things because the risks are elevated. But however, you can always start from somewhere. You can minimize risk by dealing with your own big customers and their customers. The way I say it is, think about this. I am a parent. I want to pay school fees. I bank with Bank A. The school I pay school fees to banks with Bank A. But sometimes, I mean, this is just a hypothetical example. That doesn't exist in my case. I have to go withdraw money in cash out of my bank, then go to my school and pay in cash. This is an opportunity missed. So we have to be ready to take risk as banks. I say as banks because I've been a banker and I still consider myself a banker. We need to be ready to take risk as banks. We need to be ready to invest in African businesses because it's easier. African businesses understand the African customers. You think about micro lending solutions, people wanting salary advances. It's the reality of the economy that we are in. So, how do you come up with solutions like this? How are you able to measure credit worthiness of some of these things? So, it has to do with combining all the data. So, you need to understand that your data unit in your bank, your infrastructure unit, your innovation unit, your support unit, all of these units in technology have to work together so that you can provide real solutions that solve real problems for real people. And banks shouldn't just be interested in things like which can be peculiar with government bonds and bigger companies. It doesn't grow the economy. So thank you. Thank you very much. Hang on a second. Okay. So just in case I'm still live, I think I want to talk about the work culture in Grey Parrot, talk about how we build solutions, talk about how we form teams, so that for organizations or startups that want to go into this sort of business can also have an idea. So it's essential that you're able to have loyal people who provide a tech for you. Grey Parrot is actually an ISV, we're an independent software vendor or an original equipment manufacturer, if you want to use that term. So this means that we build our own software and we do a lot of integrations. Apologies, it turns out that I was on mute. So I'm talking about what I was saying before I went on mute was it's essential that you think about how you build your team. It's essential that you have a team that remains loyal. You need trust from your clients. We operate in a heavily regulated industry. You also need to take into account. Okay, there's been a little bit of technical challenges, but it's fine. I'd like to continue. So I'm speaking about your team. Your team is very important. Your team is going to have to assure banks who are risk averse that look, it's okay to trust in this African company. It's okay to trust in this team of people who are about to provide solutions. Because note, I said we are an independent software vendor. So it's not like we pick solutions from Europe and then come and deploy. No, 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 no. So we go through a lot of scrutiny. We go through a lot of intellectual challenge, and we welcome it. We actually welcome it because where we need to go to requires that we need to consider ourselves as being able to provide solutions equal to or better than what is currently on the market. So I'll give you an example. Let's think about core banking software. We have large organizations that provide banking software, the underlying software that empowers or powers a whole bank. You have companies in America that provide core banking software. You have Oracle. You have companies in India or Asia. Let me make it more generic. You have companies in Europe, Temenos, one of the largest. And I believe there will be companies in South America who will be providing solutions to South American clients. And I'm talking top tier banks. How many top tier banks are using a core banking solution that has been done by an African organization? And that has to change because it will surprise you if you want to run a bank, a very small bank, and you want to use a core banking system that is that it's fit for purpose. If you are not careful, you're not going to spend less than 2 million USD. So there's an opportunity for African businesses to collaborate together, for African businesses to come together and to provide solutions for our own continent. And so that's the goal. I mean, hopefully, in a few years, maybe a decade, we're going to have one of the largest banks on the continent using a core banking system that was developed by Grey Parrot. Then once I get to that point, I I can begin to think about, okay, what next? So Eben, I've just been
Yes.
sharing with our viewers.
So sorry to everyone. Just a little bit of network disruption there. So, Papa, you've shared a lot, and I just want us to wrap up the
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
Uh, in terms of the key milestones that you've achieved, I believe that it's been abundantly clear from this.
Okay, so in terms of the key milestones, I think when we started the company, one of our biggest goals was to become Pan African. And currently, as we speak, we are very excited to have business clients outside Ghana. In the past, in the past 4 years, I would say, or 3 years, we've had implementations that have been going on outside Ghana. And that is actually very good. It's very inspiring because in the early days, we saw how Nigerian companies provided a lot of software to Ghana, whether it was through being channel partners for the big organizations or providing services that helped. So I'm very happy. I mean, when I see that we have thousands of transactions happening in a country that sometimes takes me, if you're traveling from Ghana to Zambia, for example, sometimes you can spend maybe 12 hours in the air because travel is still a problem on the continent. So I have friends, brothers, and sisters on the other side of the continent who are using a solution that was built by Ghanaians. It's exciting. And in terms of what we want next, we want to provide more opportunity, expand our team because we believe that if our goal of having a continental presence in every country, we want to expand our team. We're also we are starting out a channel partner program, which should go live. So if there's any um, body listening to me and you are in a country and you have an understanding of B2B sales to banks specifically, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn and we can see how best we can add you onto our channel partner program so that we can grow together.
Thank you very much, Papa, and thank you to all viewers. This is what we have time for. The conversation has basically centered on digital transformation and innovation for financial inclusion. Once again, this is Fintech Africa Podcast, powered by Financial Inclusion Africa and Fintech Magazine Africa.